live from the Echo Network studios here in Royal Oak, Michigan. This is Odd Musings. We are your hosts. I'm Brett Pinson, the creator of The Adventures of Carl, Boomtown Scabs, The Expendables, and many more fun stuff coming soon. Along with my cohort in trouble here,
Scott Zambelli. Just my microphone. I think there was like someone 8 feet tall sitting here before. I'm like, look at it. Why is it at eye level?
They can't see your beard.
I'm talking with my eyes. But I'm Scott Zambelli, creator of Emmanuel God With Us, a great comic book series that someday will get past issue 1. And with all the business I'm doing here in real estate, I've been keeping busy with that too, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But so glad to be on board here and another week.
And we got Dominic hanging out with us again here, running the board and
making everything happen behind the scenes.
He was late today though.
He was late.
He goes, I'll be there in 5 minutes. 10 minutes later, he's still not here. We're like, man, come on.
We were forced to wait in the hall, man.
Yeah, people were looking at us going, what's this guy got a puppet in a box, man? There's a puppet in the box. It doesn't make... What's in the puppet?
What's in the box?
He's like, let me out.
But, so it's been an exciting week for both of us. Now, we'll be talking a little bit about Carl later on, but introduce everyone to your puppet over here.
And he'll be coming out with more.
So they know why he's here.
You heard me mention last week from Rebecca, who does Ruppets, Ruppits, and she does great puppets. She did my Carl puppet here, and this is Carl. Hi, I'm Carl, and he has his own book. Buy my book. So he's got it right down here, and then he's gonna be hanging out with us in the last segment before our outros and that. Yeah. So he's gonna be cool. And then hi, Scott.
And a really cool thing. I mean, you can't quite see it there on the video, but when you get really up close, it's really high quality. I mean, it's really good the way he's made.
Got my toe, and he's got a pink nose, and he's got his
fur is
ears.
Awesome. I think the fur is what makes it, though.
And he likes belly rubs. I have way too much fun with Carl.
Yeah.
And he had a great time in the Great Lakes Comic Con where he made his debut.
And he met a lot of new friends. A lot of kids really, they saw Carl at your table. They were even just drawn right to you.
Yeah, it was a great time. He sold a few books. And
he did.
He got,
so what cut does he get of the sale?
He gets nothing. What? I'm the store. Yeah, you got paid and you got made. Okay.
So
he's gonna go take a break now.
Yeah, so we'll be talking more in the second half of the show here about the Adventures of Carl, a series created by Brett and
along with John, and I'll talk about the history of Carl and get into that.
Yeah, and we'll also be getting into the Star Wars Rebels series, which just had their series finale.
Yeah.
We're talking that there will be spoilers in there, just to let you know. But basically, we're going to talk about all 4 seasons as a whole and how we liked it and how we liked the finale and speculate on what it means moving forward.
Yeah. Now, as people maybe notice that are watching the video, I put on there that Scott gushes on The Bachelor. I found out the other day that Scott is a huge Bachelor fan. I believe you have posters up too, or something.
No. So as I was saying off here, during our pre-show here. So here's the thing about The Bachelor: it's the power of bad TV. I don't even care about it. I don't like any of these people. They have to fail a sanity test to be on the show, I think, and pass a STD test.
I was mentioning in the pre-show. I watched or listened to the Bob and Tom show, and they mentioned that they look for the craziest people. Yeah. The only thing they have to really pass is an STD test.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't even care about this show, but other family members watch it, and I'll be doing art or whatever, working on things, and it's always on in the background. And then slowly, over the course of a couple weeks, I find myself like something happens. I'm like, oh wait, he didn't pick her? What? And then I'm like, oh no, I'm sucked in again. Next thing I know, I care about who's on and who's not.
You're running the family pool on who gets picked.
Oh, it's awful. Oh, yeah. And then calling my mom and being like, oh, who do you think's going to go?
I'm traveling home. Who got picked up?
Yeah. So, anyways, the finale just happened. So, spoiler alert, if you don't know, which I can't imagine anyone from what's his name? Chris Hardwick or whatever his name is. He kind of looks like...
Nerdist?
Not the Nerdist.
I know.
There's another one. But
I know you're talking about him and
Chris.
Chris.
Like the same name.
Yeah, it's Chris somewhere. I I think they're like brothers or something.
Or Harding, or I don't know. Anyways,
they're clones.
I can't imagine anyone not knowing what happened if they're really a fan. If I know it, you should know it. So anyways, Ari, he gets to the finale. It's down to these final two women, which, leading up to this, he kept telling all of them he loves them, which then made them all think they were the only one. And he votes off a bunch of them, and then he's down to only two left. Well, the big controversy of this season was he chooses one girl, Becca, and sends Lauren home. Well, it turns out, like a couple months later, like during the hiatus, it turns out he really likes Lauren. So he ends up breaking his engagement off with Becca to go back with Lauren. And they end up filming the breakup, and they actually play it in real time as it happened, and with no editing, supposedly. So it's like 45 minutes of the absolute most uncomfortable television ever. And Becca's crying, and she's like, just go. And Ari's just standing there looking like a twit. Like, ooh, are you okay? It's like, no, she's not okay. And then he's like, well, I'm going to leave. And she's like, yes, go. And then he just stands there. And it's like, go.
And when I heard this morning them talking about it on the radio on the way in, though, I'm sure she's real heartbroken. She just got picked to be the Bachelorette. Well, so now she's going to get paid again to be on the series.
Right. So, and I totally saw it. As soon as he dumped her, I talked to my mom about it, and I'm like, Becca's the next Bachelorette.
Well, isn't that how it usually goes? They've done this like 3 times.
Well, they like the person who the fans have the most connection to. So, like, when somebody gets wronged on the show, they feel like the fans want redemption for them. So now she's the next Bachelorette.
Well, I think what they need to do now is, instead of Bachelorette, it should be like Bachelorette Survivor, and then you drop them on an island.
Well, they kind of have that. So for all the rejects of the show, like the troublemakers, the ones that are problem childs of the show, they have what's it called? Bachelor in Paradise or something.
Okay.
And so it's like a house where they put all the rejects from the show that, like, the bad.
So they do like a bad version of Big Brother, which I don't think you can get any worse than Big Brother. But
yeah. So it's like this Big Brother version of Bachelor, where they pair up the guys and gals who were the troublemakers.
They should just go, for those that know the Japanese movie Battle Royale, let's just do that. Basically, it's a Hunger Games. We'll drop them all on an island, and the last male, last female living have to get married. And if it ends up being a same-sex couple, well, they're screwed. They gotta get married anyways.
So
I'm not gay. You got to do it.
Too bad.
You signed up. You signed the contract.
Yeah. So I was thrilled about the finale, only because it means it's over and I don't have to watch it anymore. It's like this weird, like,
I've never watched any of that
thing.
I only know it from hearing like stuff on the radio and then what you just told me. So.
Yeah. Now, just to take the sickness to one more level, I actually followed some of the people on Instagram, because now I'm like curious about how does this even bleed over into their normal lives? I don't know.
Do they even is their Instagram even really normalized at that point?
I need help.
Yes, you do.
But enough Bachelor.
Yes.
So this weekend, well,
after Jeff and I had lunch after the show last week, Jeff Sorna, great guest. I went headed back home and stopped in Canton, where I go to the movies at Imagine. I saw The Dark Crystal for the first time in theaters since 1982. Now, I've seen it before in between there on video, home video, DVD, but I hadn't seen it on the big screen since I was 11.
So that's 26 years since it's been out in theaters.
Yeah.
26 years.
So, or 36.
36, so you're correct.
Yeah.
Good thing I'm an accountant. That's why we use calculators.
That's why you get audited, huh? But it was, I've always been a fan. I know you and I talked, and you saw it a few years ago, and it really didn't hold up for you.
For me, I still enjoyed it. It just, I think because the last time I saw it was like around 86 or so, or something like that, when I was trying. It was like on HBO a lot at the time.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. So for me, they're so creepy, the puppets.
But that's the best part of it.
But for some reason, as a kid, they were cool. Now as an adult, when I watch it, I'm like, they're really creepy.
It's because we don't get enough Muppet puppet stuff
Maybe
going on.
Maybe that's it.
But so I saw The Dark Crystal. Really had a good time watching it. Wasn't a packed theater because it was an afternoon weekday showing. Mm-hmm. And walked out going, man, I really enjoyed it as much as I did when I was a kid and everything else. None of the big screen stuff. And this is a new, they kind of cleaned it up a little bit from the old film.
Well, that's the other thing, too, because now theaters, with the digital quality that they portray, how much does an old film like like that hold up. But
Yeah, it still has a look of film because it is all film, and they just digitally brought it. They brought up they just released. I got it yesterday, the 4K release on Blu-ray. So that was the print they used to digitally stream it. So you get that movie theater quality on that
that's
at
cool.
home. I haven't played around with it because there's some special features I want to check out. I did do the digital version of it to put on my account.
Was there anything special with seeing? Like, did they have special posters or anything that they gave to people who were seeing it?
They didn't give us anything. They charged us extra.
Oh, well, that was nice.
But yeah, because it was a special event.
Right.
They did have beforehand. You had Jim Henson's daughter talk about her dad's vision for this.
Oh, that's
it was
cool.
kind of funny. Instead of saying dad, she calls him Jim. So
It's probably a professional thing because...
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
And but it was really cool. There was a good almost 10-minute thing before the movie started, them talking about his idea for Dark Crystal, where it came from. One of the things they talk about too is the language. Originally, the language was an odd language. I think they were going to subtitle it. Mm-hmm. And when they tested it, it didn't test well at all because they're like, we don't know what's going on. So they had to do the voiceover and then actually write dialogue after they'd already filmed everything.
Wait, they were going to do the whole movie in a foreign language and subtitle it all?
Pretty much.
Oh, I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah. I don't think I would have liked it either.
Well, especially as kids.
And they showed it. It was like...
Watch subtitles.
Right. Or if that's even subtitled. It basically was this odd language. So they have the original video footage of them doing stuff with the weird language. And, they had the story. They just were doing this made up language basically,
right.
And then they showed they had to change the dialogue to match the movements, so that's why you get a couple that seemed like a little odd saying here and there, but it's just the way it fit in there. And I think that's also when they probably put in for the Chamberlain, who was one of the Skeksis, his through the whole thing where he's constantly doing that whiny bit, and the one goes, I hate your whining. So cool. But it was fun in that, but I really enjoyed that. And then like I said, since 1982, for me, I'm a huge Jim Henson fan. And I saw last night our Janice, who's piped down here quite a few times.
Yeah, she went to see it with...
She went and saw it with her husband, Roy, and they had a special guest. I was like,
guest movie watcher.
Yeah, I was like, well, I don't get a collectible Jay Fosgate to watch a movie with.
Collectible Jay Fosgate. That was the new Jay Fosgate Ruppet puppet.
Yeah, there we go. And so it was pretty cool they watched it with Jay, because I know
Jay also has a really cool puppet.
Yeah, he's got his Bodhi troll.
Yep.
And his is a huge, and the guy that made it for him is a professional puppeteer that makes puppets for the big productions and that. Jay's a huge Jim Henson
We definitely
fan.
have a puppet theme going on.
Yeah.
I gotta get a puppet.
Yeah, there you go. We'll get you a Jesus puppet to go with your comic book.
You know what would be a good puppet?
Yeah.
A Jeff Swordnik puppet. He has a very distinctive look.
He's very cartoony. Yes.
But we would have to have interchangeable hair to change the color.
Change the colors, yeah. That's funny. I'll have to talk to Jay and see maybe if I was going to see if he wants to come in sometime and hang out with us for an episode. And
when we just forced invited Jeff, he appeared. So maybe we could do that with Jay.
Yeah. So he's like, Jeff, you want to come on? I'll think about it. Hey, I'm here, guys. So that's what I kind of did last week. I worked a lot this past week. I'm still doing the shifting, and that's going really good for me on that. Meet some interesting people. I met a great 94-year-old lady last week. Name's Nancy, and ended up I was able to visit with her for about 15 minutes afterwards.
Nice.
She's in a senior apartment, real sweet. Get to call her Aunt Nancy now if I ever get her orders again. So it's neat meeting different people like that as I do this traveling in between doing comic books and everything else. So it's a fun thing there. And you've got a lot going on with the real estate.
This last week was a very successful week. We had a client where we were able to find him a home, get an offer in, accepted. We already did the inspection, so the buying side is going really well. And then we listed their house for sale. Also, we put it up on Friday. We had 8 showings in just over 2 days, and an offer came in. It was an awesome offer. And just want to point out, I put this in a video earlier today on my live stream. Everyone always says with real estate, it's location, location, location. But I want to say timing is just as important, because you have a general value of your house, but the reality is depending on the timing of when you put it up for sale, that value can fluctuate $5 or $10 in either direction, just because of how much competition there is. And right now, with our client, they originally were waiting for spring. Yeah. And when we showed them what the current market conditions are, meaning the general area and who's up for sale right now, they had zero competition right now. So we decided to put it up for sale now, and hugely successful. Had a lot of interest because these are right now there's more buyers buyers out there than actual homes for sale. So we got a fast offer, a great offer. Everyone's happy. And now we're going through the inspections process on that and moving forward. So, go to my website, scottzambelli.com for that, and you'll be able to message me through there or message me through here, wherever you want.
Yeah.
But definitely. And
and then we've got, as Mom put, we got Randy Zimmerman. I need to talk to him. He's going to be on April 4th.
Yep.
So I'll get to confirm with him again, make sure that's still going to happen, and get him out here so we can have a good time with him.
Yeah.
As guest tonight. But I'm really glad to see the back to real estate is going really well for you. I know we talked about what that deal you're talking about, and you mentioned you had like a neighbor there saying, hey, we're thinking about selling too.
Yeah, and that's the thing with real estate. Now, because we listed this house, me and my partner for my team here, we got that house listed, and from there, now we've got other people calling us because they saw the sign in the yard. So then they were like, hey, we're thinking about selling, or I'm looking for a house. Like, oh, sorry, this one already sold, but we can show you other houses. So so it gets the ball rolling, and those listings act as magnets. So that's really cool.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. And then on the nerd front,
there's
there's some big moves being made.
I thought this was really cool, and one thing is that it'll help reduce spoilers. I'm sure they're doing it for piracy as well as get more money right away to not compete with their other properties. But Avengers got moved up a week.
Yeah, so April 27th it's coming out. I saw the announcement because I follow Tom Holland. He was on. He was surprised by it because he did a Instagram video. He does a lot of them, and he's like, I'm on my way to this. I just saw a billboard and it says April 27th. I was told May 4th.
Yeah.
He's like,
well, they're still doing. And when I'm doing my shops at Myers, they have a commercial for the Avengers, and it still says May 4th. They haven't updated all the advertising yet because it was a relatively new decision.
Now, I think technically it's only a move up for the U.S. I think they were doing April 27th.
No, it's worldwide. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, originally, I think.
Well, yeah, there was some markets that were going to open with the U.S.,
right?
Which of course is all North America,
right?
And there was the European markets. A lot of them were going to open the week before, like they did before.
So I think that it was.
I think the only thing I don't know is if China is opening the same week. China always is a week after the U.S.,
right?
But they are moving everybody up for the most part.
They did. I did see them label it worldwide, so I would think China is part of the world,
right?
But who knows?
So it makes sense in a lot of ways to reduce spoilers. Because this is going to be a spoiler-heavy movie that's going to lay the groundwork for not just finishing Phase 3, but starting Phase 4 of the Marvel Universe. So.
I think all movies are spoilers,
pretty much
for themselves.
But but the thing also is we know there's more Marvel movies coming. They've announced like 7 or 8 dates over the next 5 years.
Yep.
We just don't know what titles. We know other than the fact that we know that there's a second Spider-Man. We know there's going to be a third Guardians of the Galaxy, but we don't know how they all tie into going forward.
And as we've mentioned before, so they've been withholding these titles because the titles will have spoilers for this movie. So they've said. So when this movie is out, that's where I think we're suddenly going to see that time frame of all these movies come out. Now we're going to see the titles pop.
It's already speculated. I mean, we know there's going to be another Black Panther. I mean, that was kind of a given.
Oh yeah.
Things like that. But how are they going to all tie into the future phase, which is going to be a big departure from what they're doing right now? So
so I'm excited for that. And then in other Marvel news, the Thor came out.
I forgot it. I saw it. You asked me about it today, and I was like, yeah, I saw it last night.
So our good friend of the show, Varian. I saw him post
that's who I saw too.
Question this morning about whether he should get the Target exclusive, which comes with an art book, or the Walmart exclusive with trading cards. And so based on the responses, he went with the art book. And I definitely want to see the art book. I hear it's a nice book.
Yeah, I like the Target stuff for their exclusives. I've got a couple of those books that come in. They're small, but they're pretty cool, and they usually have some interesting things in them. So
so I plan on stopping over there and at Target and picking up my Thor Blu-ray. And I just love that movie. Is just so fun. I forgot. I thought it was coming out like next week. So I saw it. I was like, oh, I gotta go see this now. So. It's not the best Marvel movie, but I think it's the most fun overall.
It was. It's my top 3 in fun, and the other 2 are both Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Right.
And actually, I would probably go Guardians of the Galaxy 1, Thor, and then Guardians 2.
That's how mine is.
In terms of the most fun, in terms of I just sat through this movie going, it doesn't matter how it ties into anything else. It was a blast.
I just had fun.
It starts off when you got Thor spinning around talking to this other creature. And he's like, wait a minute, I'll be back.
Even the opening. Also the villain, Hela. Kate Blanchett.
yeah.
She did awesome in that role.
Oh, she was fantastic.
And, I mean, she's an amazing actress in her own right, but and everything she's ever did, I never pictured her as this badass villainous like this, and she nailed it.
Oh, she was perfect.
And I really am looking forward to the blooper reel because I think it's gonna be funny. So I'm with how fun the movie was. I think the blooper reel is gonna be even funner.
Oh, it'd be
funner?
great.
Is funner a word?
Funner. We'll make it a word.
Bless you, Dominic. If you heard the sneeze in the background, that was Dominic.
It's probably one of them Pokemons.
That was our proof of life sneeze for
He's
those
playing
watching.
Pokemon Go, so he's sneezing. I was like, oh, I'm allergic to this Pokemon. Better not catch it.
So we had, and then other Marvel news. Tomorrow is Netflix's Jessica Jones season 2.
Yes,
that comes out.
I enjoyed the first season enough to want to watch the second season, but it's still not my favorite of those. I'm looking forward to see how they tie in the villain from the first one. He's supposed to be making a return, so we'll see how that goes.
I'm curious how they're going to do it. Is it going to be flashbacks or is he legitimately back? I'm not certain on that.
Yeah.
But I will say, as far as Jessica Jones goes, for me, her character is my least liked of all the Netflix. The only thing that made Jessica Jones worth watching in my mind was the second half of the season was awesome because of David Tennant. He what's the Purple Man?
Yeah,
the Purple Man. Kilgore sounds
right. Yeah. They called him Purple Man, Kilgore, something like that. They went back and forth.
I'm blanking on his name, or Kilgrave, whatever it was.
Yeah,
but he was an awesome character, and I found his backstory intriguing with his parents.
Well, and that made it and even a little bit of the Luke Cage stuff that made it for me. She is, and I don't know if it's Kristen or if it's just the character, and you see it really bad in Defenders. She's just kind of like, hi, I'm here.
I just found her. I find her very dull. So personally, I don't even want a Jessica Jones season 2. I wish they didn't do it. I would rather had they grown the Netflix universe and brought in like rumors for a long time or Moon Knight. I would have loved to see Moon Knight. I think if they took the Ghost Rider character from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and moved it over to Netflix, that would have been an awesome
Johnny Blaze series would have been awesome. Yeah.
I wish they did that. There was rumors of maybe She-Hulk coming in. That would have been cool.
She-Hulk would have been a great series because She-Hulk comics, there's a lot of humor and a lot of stuff, and they don't have to constantly have her hulking out.
Right.
And even when she does, she can get bigger. She doesn't have to be that big. She mainly just goes green.
Right.
She's strong.
Right. So I think those would have been such awesome. Plus, with She-Hulk, you got the aspect where you have this high-powered attorney who's part of the Netflix Marvel-verse there.
And they could easily tied it into everything going on.
Yeah, with She-Hulk being a high-powered attorney, that would have been a natural link. So
I kind of keep hoping when they do the new Daredevil series that maybe they introduce her that way and then they could still go off to do her own series.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because he's going to need a lawyer in this next one.
So I will be watching the Jessica Jones season 2, but I'm going to be honest.
I doubt I'll be able to binge it. I'll probably have to watch 1 or 2 episodes and then take a break. And then
the only thing that's going to save it is if Kilgrave comes back and he's awesome still. And that's the only thing for me.
Well, if he's a good villain, it can save the series.
And then I will say, too, as far as the series goes, then you got Luke Cage and Iron Fist joining forces. I really don't care about that series either. I'm going to watch it just out of because I
well, I mean, the Iron Fist stuff has been very lackluster. They really didn't do a good job with that, and I personally enjoyed the Luke Cage series. I liked the music on it, I liked the way the styling behind it.
I enjoyed it. I just didn't feel it was good enough to warrant him a second season.
Well, and
now I will say I think Iron Fist and Luke Cage by themselves are weak characters.
Well, joining them together and do Heroes for Hire is the way to go.
Right, because you have less. You can pair them off of each other.
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, Luke Cage, he never runs. He does nothing fast. I mean, there was only one scene in the entire season where he actually moved fast.
Yeah.
So it's like. It's just a very slow.
Well, you're pretty much almost impervious to everything. You don't. have to
but when you're
fast,
doing an action series, you need something moving. It's like, does this guy do any cardio?
Well, speaking of moving, if you're having trouble moving, you need to get down to Loringer Family Chiropractic, located in Belleville, Michigan, and Dexter, Michigan. Yes. They'll be opening a new Dexter office in April. We haven't got an exact date yet, but we're going to have Dr. Corinne come and visit with us and talk some chiropractic, as well as I'll be doing some videos out there so we can get them posted up, maybe a couple live videos, and check out the new office they got there. But if you're looking for a chiropractor, Loringer Family Chiropractor Center, PC, they do take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient. patient. Offering on-site digital x-rays, massage therapy, orthotics by foot levelers, Young Living essential oils, aromatherapy, full line of vitamins, all in a family-oriented environment. Give them a call at the Belleville location, 734-697-4244, or visit them online at LorgerFamilyChiropractic.com. If you're not in the area, they can definitely help direct you to a good chiropractor in your area. And as personal experience on this, chiropractic really helps me out. I've noticed I went in very sore yesterday because with all the working I've done, with a lot of lifting, a couple of things that got a lot of whack, popped me back in, and I was feeling a lot better after I left there.
Yeah, when it comes to chiropractic care, I think there's so many misconceptions about chiropractic care, and we live in a society where the medicine is such a focus, which only treats the symptoms often. Whereas chiropractic care, it treats the problem.
Yeah, what it's trying to do is get your body to do what it naturally should do, is help heal you. And I've seen at different times different chiropractors, they have things about the tree. If the tree's bent, it's not growing right, so they try to fix, bend it back, and that's what they're doing with this. And a lot of people think it's all a bunch of hokum or witch doctory, and there's a lot of science behind chiropractic care, and they're taking a different approach. Instead of looking at drugs and surgeries, they're looking at ways to try to heal you without doing that.
There's a lot of just common sense to it too. You look at the spine, look at a detailed model of a spine and how complex that is, and how your spinal cord comes out of every single vertebrae. You have these nerve endings coming out, that those nerve endings regulate the rest of your body. And it doesn't take, you don't really need to be a rocket scientist to understand if those nerves are pinched, they're not doing their function.
The information travel. A lot of people think nerves as pain, and it's not. That's just one aspect of it. They let you know where the pain is, but it's your body is filled with basically its own like internet. It's an information highway that's feeding the brain what's going on, and when something gets kinked up and the nerves aren't working right, then your
nervous system regulates your blood pressure. It regulates your pulse. It regulates all these different functions. Your respiratory system are all regulated by your nervous system. And if your spine is out of whack and it's causing a pinch, guess what? Those signals aren't going through the way they should. And that's what chiropractic care really is. It takes care of your spine. It takes care of you. And
I'll tell you from personal experience, I notice a huge difference in how I feel. It helps me out with different problems I've had from my car accident years ago, to kind of keep things moving in that.
And Miles Christian is giving you a shout out for your smooth transition into
chiropractic care. I think I've got the transitions pretty good on some of this stuff here. Hey, Miles, good to see you checking us out today. Good friend from Comic Cons. He's a huge comic book fan. I haven't seen him in a few years because he doesn't travel to the cons I've been at. He needs to start coming out. But he's up there in Erie, Pennsylvania. Him and his buddy John, who I've known for quite a few years. And he's a good friend of another friend of the show, Eric.
Awesome. So moving forward, though, hopefully we can get somebody from Loringer into the studio here.
Dr. Corinne's going to come out.
Awesome.
Her and I are going to be talking soon, and we're going to try to schedule that and get her out sometime in mid-April. And that way we can spend an hour talking about what chiropractic care really is and how it can affect you and help you and make your life better in the long run. I think it'll be a fun topic for you guys to listen to and check out too.
And to smoothly transition away from that, I wonder how much effect going into warp speed with a bunch of space whales with all the windows broken out on your Star Destroyer will affect your spine.
I think Thrawn's going to need some chiropractic care.
I think he's going to need some chiropractic care.
That's right. We're talking Rebels.
And there will be spoilers, which I kind of gave one just now, but that's okay. But
well, I mean, if those have been watching Rebels, they had to watch the finale. It happened. If you haven't been, go back and watch the series, even if we talk about it today, because we're not going to get so in depth that you're going to know every little aspect of it. But this has been such a great series for me.
Very enjoyable.
I was worried about it at first because as much as I enjoyed the Clone Wars, which was a great series, which is available on Netflix still. They threatened to take it off a couple times, but they keep putting it back and leaving it on. So as long as it's still there, go on there and watch the entire series of that. And then I don't think they've added Rebels though. That's the only thing.
No, they have not. Wait.
So
I'd have to double check. I don't recall seeing Rebels, but I don't.
Sure. And then afterwards, if you haven't watched Rebels, then watch it because a lot of what happens in Clone Wars will go in there. So we got Angela Ogun tuning in. Hey, Angela.
Good old Angela. She's chiming in from Georgia.
I love Georgia.
Her brother Cam is also watching. So
awesome.
Hello, Cam. Welcome aboard, and welcome, Angela.
But Scott and I, we talked many times. Scott and I are both big Star Wars fans. I'll give has got the advantage in this one because he has built armor and he has costumes. But we both read many of the expanded universe stuff, comics and books, and both have.
But your memory is far better than mine.
Only slightly. But so we both love it, and both of us, of course, watching Rebels, and we've talked about it. We talked a little bit about it after the first half of this last season, and speculated a little bit. They were supposed to tie this in more to Rogue One, and
at least they definitely
hinted at it. I mean, they talked about it in the end.
I don't think they formally said that. I can't recall if they formally said it, but they definitely hinted at it.
Yeah. And what we got was, this last, it was an hour and a half, basically. It was a half-hour episode, then an hour-long episode to kind of finish off the series. They showed on Monday. I was surprised because I didn't realize they were going to do the finale until after I watched last week's episodes, because they were doing 2 at a time, and they said, hey, next week's the finale. I was like, really? And I thought it was like 1 hour, maybe 2.5 hours, and it was going to be 90 minutes, which was pretty cool.
Right.
But it kind of wrapped up the main story. The story of Rebels was kind of the birth of the rebellion, and even before Rogue One came out, we learned in Rebels that there was different factions of people rebelling against the Empire, and for different reasons. Ezra, on his home world of Lothra, it was because the Empire had come in and took over. Lothal, and they killed his parents, right. And so he was kind of a street rat. And when we first meet him, he's kind of he's fighting the Empire his own way, and then he meets up with this group, and that's where we get introduced to Kanan, who's a Jedi. Sabine, who's a Mandalorian.
Ren.
Yeah.
Which my theory was we were going to learn she's tied into the Knights of Ren somehow, but that never happened.
Yeah. That would have been cool, but it still could happen,
because they're Mandalorian armor, and she's from Mandalore, so I always thought
still could happen.
It still could,
only because the series, the last thing we see actually is a scene right after Return of the Jedi would have happened.
Right. Well, and the other thing
the Battle of Endor, as they kept referencing.
Last Jedi did no reference to the Knights of Ren, so nothing has grown as far as their story. But here's the thing with Rebels. So me personally, I think overall I still like Clone Wars better as an overall series. However, what's nice about Star Wars Rebels was Clone Wars was a very big story, whereas this brought us back to almost like the original trilogy feel, where instead of focusing on the big picture, it brought us into a very small core of characters that we got to know really well. And all of them, they did such a great job developing all of them. You got Hera.
Well, and the beauty is we saw the growth.
Yes.
And part of it was also in the style and look of the characters as they went on from season to season.
I did like that they would change the looks, too, of the characters. Typically with a cartoon, a character will wear the same clothes and look the same for 20 years. Yeah. I mean, has Bart Simpson changed his pants yet? I don't know. He looks the same. He hasn't even grown. Even though other characters on the show grow. Maggie is still
a baby,
but the neighbor grew. There's some weird time warp going on there.
But yeah, I mean, we did. We get the first season you meet them. You got Ezra, who's quite young. Sabine's young too. They're about the same age.
Yeah, and they did a great job of developing Ezra. He was very immature at the start, and then you see how it ends, where
and especially as he's discovering his force powers. You can't really call him a Jedi, although he kind of follows the path of the Jedi for the most part. But he's kind of like in between. So he really is almost the epitome of more of a Jedi than a gray Jedi. But
from a technicality standpoint, he's not a Jedi because the Jedi's gone. The order is gone.
Yeah, Kanan had already left the order before.
He technically never became a Jedi Master.
Right.
Technically.
He had been trained, though.
Right, and I want to say in season 3, I think it was, when they were going into the Jedi Temple on Lothal, when he had the visions with Yoda. I think that's where he passed his Jedi trials, was in the visions there in the Jedi Temple. And I think technically, if I remember correct, Yoda. That's Yoda's weird brother. Yoda, I think,
his crazy cousin.
He declared that he had passed, that this was his Jedi trial, and I think he declared him a master, if I remember right, but I could be wrong on that. But something like that happened.
Well, we had a lot of cool stuff. We saw the growth of a force empowered person who had no idea. Yep. Plus someone who had trained in the Jedi Order, who survived the purge of the Jedi, and had gone on in hiding and still out and was part of the original. Him and Hera had hooked up and became part of the original rebels in that.
And I think that the technicality of him not being a Jedi Master at that time, I think that's how he survived the purge, because he wasn't like in the Jedi records or something.
Right. I
I think that's how.
I'd have to go back. I've never read the current comic of Kanan, but it's supposed to talk about all those years.
Yes.
And I'm thinking I'm going to have to go back and maybe pick up some trades on that and really read that because I'd like to learn more on him on that. But yeah, we see his journey as well as becoming a full Jedi and training his apprentice, which becomes Ezra, and that. But you have everybody else. You have Zed, who's basically at the first of the beginning of the series is the last of his known people,
which was really cool because he's actually based upon the very original drawings for what Chewbacca would look like,
right?
In the very original sketches.
Yeah, if you go back and look at the McQuarrie stuff, that he has the face and everything else is what Chewbacca
I love
was.
that they use those original concept design. Even Chopper, in a way, looks like the original R2 sketches.
Right,
So it's cool that they went back
boxy
to
look.
Those, they went to those Macquarie things to
and Chopper was a great character. When you first heard about Rebels, it was like, okay, they've got their own R2 type unit. And then when you actually see him in action, Chopper has complete personality.
Yeah.
He basically almost talks.
What's funny is
more than just the beeps and that. He's got his own like talk to it.
What's funny about him too is R2 was always kind of sarcastic, but Chopper went to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
He was extremely sarcastic.
Yeah.
So
we got Sue chiming in. Hi, morning, Sue. Good to see you back and listening to us. We're talking about Rebels today. And a little bit more about Carl later.
So the finale as a whole, we talked about this off air a bit. What was your feelings on the finale?
It's one of those things. It's a mixed feeling, but I think it's going to depend on what they do in the future. I enjoyed it. What I liked was they finally they saved Lothal, which was the whole point of the series in a lot of ways, was Ezra's journey to save his homeworld.
Yep.
And we see them tied in throughout the series with different people. We saw Saw Gerrera come on at times, other people tied into the Rebel Alliance. I mean, we saw the birth of the Alliance going on during this series, but it wasn't a heavy factor in the storytelling. They had their own story going on. And with defeating Thrawn, actually defeating the governor that she was over Lothal, they tricked her and they defeated her, and we know she died in it because actually it was a very aggressive episode. The last hour,
it was,
and we saw a lot of troopers and Imperials dying, and we saw one of the original clone guys get killed too.
Yeah, and just as a stormtrooper, I need to say I am very upset at the amount of violence against stormtroopers in this series. So just
Stormtrooper lives matter.
Yeah, stormtrooper TK lives matter.
TK lives matter.
So
yeah, a lot of TKs bought it. But it was really cool. And then what I was interesting was you had Ezra as the hero, and he's kind of been building to this entire season, and he basically was like, I know what I have to do. He had actually an opportunity to join the Emperor. We saw the Emperor look like he did from the prequels, and then of course when things were going wrong, he reverted to his Emperor that we know, because we tell it was a facade, and he was trying to get Ezra to open up a Jedi temple so he could get those secrets out of there, and Ezra wouldn't do it. It ends up destroying the temple.
Well, also what he was trying to do is he was tempting Ezra with changing his past to save his parents.
Right.
And and this is the lesson Kanan taught him, the whole lesson was about letting go.
Right.
Which is interesting because it's so opposite of what the lesson was in Last Jedi, which is to destroy the past. This was about maintaining the past.
Right.
It's, you got to let the past be the past, because if you change this, other things wouldn't happen.
Right.
And I really think
move forward. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the plan of the Emperor was he knew if Ezra saved his parents, he wouldn't have gone down this path. He wouldn't have met the rebels. He wouldn't have, all of these successes that were centered around them wouldn't have happened.
Right.
And
of course it would have been a false thing, because he never really would have been able to go in the past and save them. It was all meant to warp his mind. And
well, I don't know about that, because he did change the past with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Through the gate, he saves Ahsoka life, and
that's true. He did pull her from
right, and then he had the opportunity supposedly, but I think this was
I think this was more of a.
I think that it was a trick, but
I think it was more like a dark side tree where it looked like one thing, but realistically it would have warped his mind.
That's what I think for the Kanan one.
Yeah.
Or he would have tried to save Kanan, but got killed in the process too, maybe.
Right.
But that part I think was a trick. But he definitely saved Ahsoka's life.
Yes.
And changed her fate at that moment. So who knows what the actual answer is,
but he ends up saying no, and he tells us no. He tells his parents he loves them, and they tell him we love you too. You hear that? So obviously actually there was some communication there.
Yeah, which also brought closure
to him for that.
Yep.
And he basically defied the Emperor, and the Emperor, of course, was like, I'm going to get you. And they destroyed their stuff and it kind of went after from there. But at that point, Ezra knew what he had to do. And realistically, he knew that he could have sacrificed himself to save his parents, but he realized, I have to sacrifice myself to save my family. And as he said in the episode, his family was the crew of the Ghost.
Yes.
And they became his family. Nothing against his parents or anything, but they were what he needed, and he had to do everything he could to save them, as well as his planet, which that was also his family.
Right, which once again, not to keep opening a wound, this is how Star Wars is. This is what Jedis are.
Yes.
He understands that this crew is his family, whereas Last Jedi, Luke's like, oh, well, my sister's in trouble. Screw him. Han got killed. Oh, well. I mean, it's just like he didn't want to help anybody anyways, and that's where my pain is there. This was satisfying to me.
Yeah.
Now, overall, as a finale for me, I liked it. Now, like you had
I really liked it.
It felt rushed to me, though.
It was. I have a feeling because the first 3 seasons had 22 episodes. This had what essentially was like 16.
16 with a double episode for 15.
Right.
So it comes out to 16. So that's 6 episodes missing from what a normal schedule would be.
Right.
Now, if you go back to the Clone Wars, when they decided to end the season, they also ended about 6 episodes short, and you found out they had these missing episodes.
Yeah, I think the tie into the problem with that one was it was when Disney bought Lucasfilm, they said, well, we're going to end the series,
right.
And they already had these episodes in production, and they were actually almost done. Right. So they said, well, we're going to stop it here, and then on DVD they released the lost episodes, and then threw them up on Netflix.
And they also came out with a comic book series that addressed all those episodes as well. So they still fleshed them out, which was nice. Yeah. But to me, everything about this, I think they did what was right as far as wrapping up the Lothal story. I think that part was really good.
Yes.
I just felt like the last 5 minutes was like this rushed, like,
well, okay, it was
the monologue.
Ezra sacrifices himself and disappears into hyperspace with these hyperspace force space whales,
which we are introduced to in, I think it was season 2, but I can't remember.
It was back away.
Previous season.
And it also showed, because Ezra has a connection with creatures.
Yeah.
Like the wolves of Lothal, and then the space whales. Any type of actual different type of animal creature.
Yeah, he has a very strong connection.
Very strong connection on that. So after he disappears, basically, then we have voiceover by Sabine telling us what happened, and we learn that nothing was mentioned about Rogue One, which I thought they would tie that in, because the movie
that was my biggest disappointment.
But they did mention that you have Hera, Captain of the Ghosts. She was at the Battle of Endor. We don't know what capacity she was there.
Right.
We also know that her and Kanan had gotten together and they have a kid together.
Which I don't understand that at all.
Yeah. So, and he's about, when we see him, is about 10 or 11, which would have been about that time after
like you said,
Battle of Endor.
Like you read, they believe Sabine's part is about 5 years after Return of the Jedi is the speculation.
Right. Yeah, I was reading on this. So you had from the time that Ezra saves his planet, right after that would have been Rogue One, leading into A New Hope. And at that point, the time frame takes you up to 6 years up to Return of the Jedi, and then another 5 years after that's when we get some speculation on that. Because what we have was you have Sabine stayed on Lothal the whole time during the basically during the original trilogy of Star Wars, and she helped protect the planet. Correct. And the Empire never came back, but she helped protect and rebuild. Right. And of course, they helped build their own people up there too.
Right.
And we gotta get closer to another segment, but it's and then we learn the very last bit is we see Ahsoka. She doesn't say anything,
right?
But she looks like a gray Jedi. As we're speculating.
I think she's dressed as a gray Jedi. Is what I believe.
Which means she was off doing something during that 11, 12 years.
Yeah, because when Ezra saves her, we see her return back to the normal world out of that world between worlds. She's back at the original location where she was fighting Vader. So to wrap this up here, for me, my speculation is I really think they're going to do another series that moves forward and picks up, because the way this monologue
they left to go find Ezra.
Right.
And that's the last we see, and it goes right to credits. So Sabine needs to go find Ezra. That's her next mission.
Yeah, and that gives them, if they do that gives them a perfect platform to show us the origins of the First Order now. We can see...
They got 30 years in there.
And they can introduce Snoke. They can do all this stuff by going to the Outer Rim areas.
Yep. As well as visit all new places and everything.
And from the new novelization of Last Jedi, they do reveal that Emperor Palpatine was aware of Snoke through the Force, and that it was from an outer region area. So this could potentially tie into this whole story, and plus having this jump this way where they go into this hyperspace thing, it would explain why Ezra wasn't around during the original trilogy, why Thrawn wasn't around during then. It explains all these things. So my only disappointment, no Rogue One tie-in. I wish they had those 6 more episodes to show the Battle of Scarif from the Ghost perspective.
But it was overall, a great series.
I still give it like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
It was a very satisfying finale. So
it was a full-on Star Wars. So
full-on Star Wars.
Yes. Well, speaking of fun stuff, this is a bad segue. Sorry, Miles. But International Minute Press, one of our great sponsors, located in Plymouth, Michigan. They print, promote, and design you. They are artist-owned and operated. The team offers specialty printing services, custom graphic designs, marketing consultation, and promotional products to boost your business. So you don't have to be an artist. You can be a business with anything that needs any type of printing needs, from business cards to forms, things like that.
You know who would appreciate their printing services?
Who's that?
Thrawn. He's an art enthusiast.
That's true. He was buying Sabine's art.
Thrawn would like International Minute Press.
Yes. And of course, they do have the service and skills to help artists and entrepreneurs looking to take their business to the next level by exceeding client and customer expectations. I am a customer of theirs, as well as they sponsor our show. I've got my prints from them.
Yep, same here. I'm actually going to be putting in an order because we got WonderCon coming up.
Yep.
So I'll be placing a print order.
I'll be doing that too. But you can visit them online at myprinter.intlminutepress.com or go to oddmusics.com and click on over. But if you need their address, they're at 1058 South Main Street in Plymouth, Michigan. Give them a call, 734-414-6203. They do ship anywhere in the U.S. and probably Canada too.
And Miles responded, Brett R. Pinson, you cannot win them all.
I know. But what can win is our special guest.
Yes.
And that those that know me at shows know I do comic books, and I've mentioned before I'm the creator of Boomtown Scabs, The Expendables, and this little guy here that can see on video, and those that are watching, his name is Carl. Hi guys. So he's here. He's my new puppet, and I picked him up from Rebecca at the Great Lakes Comic Con, and he's just a fun rabbit with some cool ears.
Yep.
Yeah, my ears flop.
The real question is, the real mystery is, who controls who?
Good question. We know the answer to that. But Carl is an awesome, fun character. I've had fun creating. I created him with John. John and I started doing Boomtown Scabs. That was our very first comic. And the story of him is, for Carl, is in one panel in Boomtown Scabs, we had the street magician was the villain. He had a rabbit get splattered by a water balloon. And he goes, Carl! And then John and I were sitting there going, we only got one comic. We had no prints, nothing. We need something else. And I said, let's do a comic on Carl. And John's like, who's that? And I said, the rabbit. We'll just create a rabbit and do something with him.
Who is that? Who is this Carl?
And he's like, oh, yeah. He goes, so we quickly created, John drew up and we did this 8-page story, and that became the first little mini comic of 5. So we did 5 total mini comics, 8 pages each. So that's about 40 pages. And then after John passed, I got with Lane Toth, and she was 12 at the time. She's 21 now. And we did his first full-length adventure, and it's kind of a mix of Around the World in 80 Days, where he meets a lot of other literary stuff. I threw in like Captain Nemo from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Also, you got the pirates from Treasure Island. And I got, I'm blanking right now, but the Desert Island story.
Okay.
And that, so
cool.
He was basically the first Friday.
Yeah.
And that was his full-length story. And that, so when you buy his trade, which I have in front here for those watching, buy my book. And that, you get the entire current Carl stories, the original mini comics, the full-length adventure, and the bonus of Boomtown Scabs #1, where the idea from Carl came from. Cool. And I talked with Rebecca. I've been wanting to get a puppet for a while, so I got that. And for when I travel to shows, now he will not be in Anaheim with me for WonderCon because I'm worried about him getting damaged for flying. Yep. But he will be with me in Indiana the week after, as well as Motor City Comic Con. Mm-hmm. We'll have Randy talking about Flint Comics, and he'll be at Flint Comics with me.
Yeah, so
like that.
Visit Brett's booth, so you'll be able to get a selfie with Carl. I'm sure Carl's open to selfies.
I like pictures.
Yep, he likes pictures.
Pictures and high fives, but I have 4. So
but even better than selfies, he likes when you buy his book and bring it home with you.
Buy my book.
Does Carl sign the books?
You know what? I haven't had Carl sign them, but I do sign them. And I may have to come up with like a Carl stamp.
There you go.
And then I can stamp it in.
Make a little stamp that looks like his paw print.
There we go.
And then
it'll say Carl. And
there you go. I like it.
But he's a lot of fun. And I got the idea really. I've always seen Rebecca's puppets. I didn't think she could do one of mine. It never crossed my mind. And then I saw Dominic's Mojo.
Yep. Dominic has an awesome puppet named Mojo after his character. Tell us a little bit about Mojo.
Dominic's Mojo. You're talking about the puppet, right?
Yeah, it's because you don't have any mojo. You lost your mojo a long
I was
time
like,
ago.
yeah, where did you see
Although
that?
your Mojo's not here today.
Like, where did you see that?
Yeah, Dominic's like, I lost my mojo. No more twins, Basil.
I got it from the same Ruppets.
Yep, you got from Rebecca there.
She's awesome.
She is.
Yeah, she does a great job.
I mean, she's just amazing.
So I love it. It's great.
She's
She
out
got
of
the
Michigan,
teeth
right?
right. Yep, she's over in Grand Rapids area.
That's right.
And so she's a Michigan-based artist. Because I mean, this is an artistry right here. A lot of people may not think of it, but it is. So
I definitely want to see a Ruppet of Ravager.
I think that'd be awesome.
It would.
In fact, you need to do a baby Ravager Ruppet, and then a full Ravager, and we have this little small one, the little finger ones. I know you do your little poofy things too. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And then you also, there's another character in your book you wanted to do up as a puppet, wasn't there?
Yeah, well, from Boomtown Scabs, I think the next one I want to do is Atomic. He's my Australian, big, beefy, basically a lunkhead,
And with an awesome hairdo, right?
Yeah, he's got the big yellow bouffant hair, and
Yeah.
so I think it'd be fun.
That'd be awesome.
And eventually, maybe I'll do some of the other Carl's friends, like Lucky is one of his buddies. He's a duck, and then you've got Hambone, who's a pig.
So if you had to take the adventures of Carl and summarize them into a little 30-second elevator pitch so that they know what the adventures of Carl are all about, what would you tell them?
Well, he's just a rabbit, gets all kinds of crazy adventures.
Yeah.
Everything from taking on an evil corporation, which kind of looks like Disney, but isn't Disney, to traveling through time with tons of movie references.
He travels through time?
Yes.
Say it isn't so.
It is so.
My goodness, this is crazy.
But well, he's kind of like the stories of him are based on the kind of John's and I's adventures in life. Like we did a Halloween one, so it was trick or treating. So it was all fun. Like we had Hambone had the squeaky costume, when you wore like the mask that you couldn't hardly breathe out of, and you had the little plastic covering, and that
The mask that you put on, and all you can smell is latex.
Yep, and then you're sweating through it because you're breathing in there, and it's just dripping.
Yep.
So we had the Halloween trick or treat, and then John actually went to wrestling school, so we sent Carl to wrestling school. And then his final mini adventure was the Convention of Doom, where he actually went to a comic book convention, and then he got to meet his creators, Brett and John. So
What?
Yep.
Insane.
So that was a lot. And we actually put photos of us in the book.
So this is probably where Supernatural got the inspiration for their episode when they went to Comic-Con.
Yes, they stole it from us.
I think they read
because
the
we were
Adventures of
definitely years before that, because that didn't start till after we'd done those Carl mini comics.
So you gave Supernatural the inspiration for their Comic-Con series, and you gave Sylvester Stallone the inspiration for the Expendables.
Exactly.
Because you had the Expendables.
And I'm not
first.
getting paid for none of it, man. What a bunch of garbage. Send me money. Buy my book. Carl's great, though. I had a blast again, and I'm going to have fun with the kids. I like that the kids like them.
Yeah.
Expendables, while it's a PG-13 book, I got language not bad, but a little more adult themes. I like doing books that anybody could read, especially kids.
Right.
And Carl, I think, was really going to appeal to that. And as I go forward, and I'd mentioned on Dominic's show last year, I want to do a coloring book with him. And so I'm going to do that. It's going to be a full-length coloring adventure book, and go from there. I've got a couple of the stories written already. I just need to start drawing them out. And he's going to get a girlfriend. Yay!
Uh-oh.
So Daisy's going to be his girlfriend. I like Daisy. So, yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't end like Bride of Frankenstein.
No.
Daisy's like, what is this?
But the spoiler on that's not really a spoiler. The villain's the ice cream man.
Ooh. Isn't that Dirk Manning, the Ayatollah of ice cream, Dominic?
I thought he was Ayatollah karaoke. And that, which is kind of bummy. He's not going to be down in West Virginia. And that's how I was going to go anyways. There'll be no karaoke now. So, but I see Eric Watkins is listening. I want to think Eric from Tricon, if he's watching this.
Nice.
Look for me. And Eric, I will have Carl there, so maybe make him a special guest and refund me my money. I don't know.
Well, we'll bring Mojo with you, and you can have a puppet show.
We'll have a puppet off.
Puppet off.
I don't know
what happens in a puppet off.
I know you've had him on their table. Do you actually talk, do Mojo talk right with him at all? No? Okay. I'm the only weird one here. Okay.
Skill set.
But he's a lot of fun. But like I said, we're going to be in WonderCon in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from Friday it starts.
Hard to believe it's already 2 weeks.
Yeah, Sean and Steph Forney are going to be there with us. And,
Looking forward to that.
we've been talking because we're going to do Disneyland afterwards. Sean and Stefan and Scott's talking. Maybe he'll come with us on that Monday.
If you're watching this, check out Sean's page. Where's he at?
Sean Fournier. Just F-O-R-N-E-Y. Yep. SEAN-F-O-R-N-E-Y. Google him. You'll find him everywhere.
Yep.
Kind of cool artwork. He's a fantastic illustrator. He does his own comics, but he's the best colorist in the industry right now, in my opinion. And that he's just a fantastic colorist. And they're good friends I've known for going on 12 years now. I'm looking forward to hanging out with them a little more.
Yeah.
And then this Saturday, I'm going to be seeing the Dolly Rots, my favorite band here in Detroit area, at
Which
the
I'm really hoping,
Token Lounge.
And they're going to be out in Anaheim.
Yeah, I saw they're going to be.
I'm hoping we can arrange that.
Yeah, we're going to try. We might have to Uber down after the show on Saturday and catch the Dolly Rots down there. I think it'd be a blast, and I'm going to try to talk to them at the show, which they always meet the fans afterwards, and I'll tell Kelly and Lewis that we're going to be there for Anaheim for.
Does that make you a groupie if you see them on both sides of the country? Like
I think it does. Well, we didn't get a chance to meet up when I was at Tampa Bay Comic Con because their schedule changed on them. Right. But we were going to meet up and try to have dinner and that. So hopefully I'll be able to do that because they're good people. They're great to their fans, and I'm a fan of theirs for sure. And
they do great music. So how do you spell Dolly Rots?
DOLLYROTS.
They have videos on YouTube.
So all kinds of cool stuff. They do a great remake of Brand New Key song from the 70s. Yep. My favorite song is I'm Awesome, which is the awesome song from them. You got to listen to that. And their last album came out a year ago is my favorite of all the ones they've done. Every song on there I just really enjoyed. And I enjoyed all their albums, of course, but they seem to get better every single time, and they've been great from the beginning. So
awesome. And then this weekend we also have in downtown Romeo the St. Baldrick's Festival, which is there's this whole entire festival. They take over downtown Romeo and they raise money for childhood cancer, and a lot of people will be getting their heads shaved. Keller Williams Realty Lakeside, which is where I do real estate out of, we have some people shaving their head. They've raised over $1,000 so far. And then also I'll be there dressed up with the 501st, and we have a couple guys, Alan Tong, our very own Alan Tong.
He's getting his head shaved.
He's getting his head shaved along with a couple others, and they are in the process of raising money. Unfortunately, I don't know how much they've raised yet off the top of my head.
Well, we'll hopefully we can get an update on that next week.
Yeah, so if you do want to donate, if you can't be there, look up St. Baldrick's, and there's a way, I think it's stbaldricks.org, but Google it, you'll find it, and there's ways to donate through their website too, and you can pick different groups to donate through. Yeah. So it's an awesome cause, and everyone has a good time there, and looking forward to supporting it again.
Should be great. I'm looking forward to hear how it goes next week.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to attempt to do some videos, but when I'm in my Stormtrooper gear, it's kind of tough to carry the phone around too, so we'll see. All right.
Cool. That sounds like a great time. We've had a good time. Carl, did you have fun? I had fun, guys. So I guess that kind of wraps it up. So with that, Dominic, take us out.